Stop helping banks make you poor. Hey soldiers, you're not going to be able to believe the results of a recent survey that shows who Americans trust most with their money. This is unbelievable, and it smacks of a need for more financial literacy in this country if we are ever to achieve financial freedom. Speaking of financial freedom, if you want to understand how to navigate this ever-evolving global economy and also use that information to capture economic independence, hit subscribe. All right, soldiers, we're going to delve into the shocking vehicle that most Americans are comfortable with keeping their money and thinking maybe that it's safe. It's certainly not going to grow here. It's certainly not going to help you beat inflation here. You're actually going to get poorer if you keep on trusting this particular vehicle, the savings account, to keep your money. But yet and still, most Americans do trust the savings account. Now, are the banks evil? Are the banks out to get you? Well, the bank's business model is not one that is situated to make you wealthy if you put your money in a savings account. And to boot, there's even another place where Americans are putting their money that's even less effective from a return on investment standpoint than the savings account. We're going to get to that in a moment. But listen up. There are other places where you can research and consider putting your money to help it grow and beat inflation. Now look, John Williams' shadow stats, put that up on the screen now. You see, real inflation, real grown-up adult inflation, not the number they feed you in the media, but real inflation is around 12%. Now this number is derived from the way in which inflation was calculated in the 80s and prior, before it became just another number to get politicians' votes. The true number is a lot higher than what they're stating in the media and from the bully pulpits today. Why is that important? Because if you think inflation is lower, then you're going to be satisfied with money that's working less aggressively in your favor. So 12%, you got to be there just to keep your head above water. You got to tread water at 12% right now. All right. Did you get a 12% raise last year? I doubt it. Believe it or not, the low risk, low reward nature of the savings account keeps appealing to Americans, 48% of whom said they had such an account in the latest installment of Statista's Consumer Insights Survey. All right, well, here we go. According to Statista, and let's put up the infographic so you can see it, other types of investment or money saving setups were far less popular than the garden variety, plain vanilla savings account. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. Right about now, the savings account, the average APY on a savings account, November 20th, 2023, is 0.59%. Now you do the math. Subtract 0.59% from 12%. And you tell me how far behind inflation you are if you are trusting in this savings account. Now, I'm not saying that a savings account has no purpose. Not at all. Savings accounts, in fact, could be a good place to keep emergency funds or a portion of the money in your emergency fund. We talk about that all the time. In fact, high yield savings accounts are even going to get you somewhere right now in the neighborhood of 4%. Okay, but still 4% is not 12%. So you're still underwater. So you can see how keeping a lot of money in a savings account, guys, I just think it's a recipe for financial disaster long term. All right, now back to that infographic. Look what we got here. We have vehicles like cryptocurrency, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, life insurance. We talk about it all the time. It's right here. Fewer people are familiar with these other investments. You drive by 6 to a dozen banks every day. Okay, so you're familiar with them. You grew up maybe with the Christmas Club account, and if you opened up a savings account, they gave you a toaster. How could they afford to do that? Easy, because they're gonna make a lot of money off of you when it comes time to lend the money in your savings account out. And if they lend it today on a credit card, for example, they're paying you less than 1%, and they're lending that money at 24%. Okay, great business model, but you need to be aware that you're getting the short end of the stick here. 17% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 64 said that they owned cryptocurrency. Just 17%. And that's the same share for equity investments like stocks and mutual funds. Life insurance and other insurances that act like investments by offering payouts, as well as real estate, ranked almost as high in the survey at 16 and 15% respectively. Now, with real estate, you got to be careful, because if you go out and buy property, remember, there are only a couple of ways, well, a few ways you can get your money out of that. Sell the property, get an equity loan. And both of those options rely on someone else approving that. Or you could rent the property and get some income out of it. But again, that is dependent upon somebody deciding to rent your place. So be careful with real estate, but it is a place that you can have money and have it grow more aggressively than in a savings account. A smaller fraction, 9%, said they had money stored in precious metals like gold. The survey also found that savings accounts in use by about half of Americans wasn't as widespread. The savings account is not as widespread as the checking account at 64%. Now, you want to talk about laughable return on investment? Okay, when you put your money into that checking account, you're getting, okay, this is the national average as of today, 0.07% return. And look, the bank can say, hey, look, of course you're getting a low return because that's an on-demand account. You could come in here and take all that money out today and we had to give it to you. So we're not going to give you a big return on that. Same with a savings account, okay? You'll find that time-based accounts like a certificate of deposit do have a slightly higher interest rate, but not by much, all right? So if you're looking at the return that Bitcoin had in the past year, 130%. I am not suggesting you run out and buy Bitcoin. I'm giving you this as a comparison. You got to do your due diligence. Gold returned 12.85% in the last year. The S&P 500, 15%. Now, the S&P 500 is interesting because you can go out and invest in that on your own, or you can configure some of those insurance policies, couple those with the S&P 500, get the tax advantages by virtue of the fact that it's an insurance policy, permanent life insurance policy, and also get the growth that we've seen in the S&P 500. Okay, so you can couple those two things. So remember, real inflation's at 12%. A lot of people, most Americans, trust their money with a savings account at a bank, making a whopping 0.59% interest. All right, ain't gonna do it, folk. All right, so do your research, understand that there are other alternatives. Subscribe to this channel, watch this video for more information on just what we've talked about here today, and guys, I'll talk to you soon.